Hey y'all, I'm your host, Aaron Smith of the Offshore Marine Service Association. Each Friday, I'll bring you the Offshore Briefing, a quick rundown of the week's notable developments, updates, and news you need to know in the offshore space. Whether you're on deck or at your desk, we're glad you're here. Welcome back to Maritime in America, another episode of Offshore Briefing. It's great to be back. We missed 2 weeks there with being out of the office a little bit, and then we also had 4th of July. So it's great to be back for the Offshore Briefing here. Ashley, Angel, welcome. How y'all doing?
Just great. We're all in one place together for the first time in a while.
Yeah, doing good today. Weather's looking a little bit bad, but everything's good. Okay.
Yeah, I think this storm could have been a lot worse, especially for our industry out in the Gulf. But it doesn't look like it's going to be too bad, or at least doesn't look like what it could have been. So that's always a good thing. And just this week we released the episode we recorded a little while ago with Captain Calvin Gaines. And man, I just listened to it again. And while I had to hear my voice on recording, which I hate to do, it was an absolutely great episode. I remember last year when we did our videos with Calvin, Ashley hashtagged one of them as "I want to be Calvin," and man, it's just so true.
Because he's just such a great guy. And something we always ask our guys and gals is how they get into this industry, and it's so interesting. I just love hearing how everyone's path to the offshore industry is a little different, and specifically his. And then hearing his kid's path, and I don't want to spoil it, but one may work in the industry, some may not. But it's just I love hearing those kind of stories.
Yeah. Well, now that you said spoil, I guess I won't spoil it because I was going to say about like how he found his new career that he didn't know would be his new career. But I'll allow the listeners to just listen to that episode. But I do want to highlight that something that started off as just a way to make more money actually led to him creating a legacy for his kids. So I thought that was amazing.
It did. We've talked a lot on this about family, and how a job that you would think being away from family that much would prohibit you from being in such an active part in your family. And he definitely disproved that. And, it was interesting. And actually, Angel, I liked how he talked about some of the stuff that he does with his kids and how they schedule FaceTimes and then what he does when he's home. And you relayed that to your father. I thought that was really interesting too, because your father's a mariner.
Yeah. He when we were younger, he would always on his times off, I remember he used to always take us to the park to feed the ducks. That's like a memory every time that's what we would do.
Core memory.
Yeah.
It was so cool. And, I liked how we were going to be talking about mentorship and we were talking about professional mentorship. And then it wasn't professional mentorship. It was about how to be a good person and learning how to be a good person. And I just thought that was so cool and something that I know a lot of people need. I know I needed as a young man, and that he was able to find that on board. And now he recreates that for the mariners that are on his vessel with him. That was really cool. I was so glad, and I hope everyone listens to it because it's a great episode. The one thing, we always in the offshore briefing, this is a audio version of Friday Fast Facts, and I hope that all AMSA members that are listening will listen to will read Friday Fast Facts. And so, the biggest story this week that I saw was something that wasn't there. And I know a lot of people are interested in this, and a lot of people are wanting to know what happened, and that is with the American Offshore Worker Fairness Act.
The elephant in the room.
Yes. So, House Coast Guard bill was released. The text of it was released, I guess, 2 weeks ago. And the American Offshore Worker Fairness Act was in there. We'd worked hard with congressional leadership, with members of Congress. It was in. Bill is in. gets scheduled for its first stop, and that's the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, what people call T&I. And then, we started getting some calls. And, we have been, and we don't talk about this a lot, but we've been negotiating with the opponents of this legislation for a long time.
As we should be.
Yes.
We should always be in communication. Everyone should be communicating on things. We can't be divisive. We all have to work together. And I think that everyone who's listening or anyone who's listening knows I don't necessarily like to compliment Aaron. However, and so if I'm saying it, it's the truth. He really has been doing a good job about trying to do this. I just want to interject there because I think it's we're losing sight of that. Just in general, how we are as human beings, how we are in politics, we have to be able to communicate. We don't have to agree, but we have to come to the table and talk about it to figure out how to work things out.
Exactly. And so that's what we've been doing. It's oftentimes harder to strike a deal in a spotlight, and it's easier to strike a deal when you're off stage. So we haven't really been talking about this too much. And all of a sudden, some of these negotiations starting to look a little bit better. And as part of that, some of the people on the other side started going up to Congress and started coming to us and started talking to AMSA members saying, hey, we're actually making some progress in these negotiations. Maybe we just take a breath. So they then came to us and said, hey, can you guys just take a pause? Take a short pause on the American Offshore Worker Fairness Act and let's see if we can make some progress. And so because we are solution oriented and because we do want to find a path forward that benefits all the American mariners, benefits Captain Calvin, benefits all of those great people who work for Stacey Stanley, that because we want to see a benefit and not just have an issue, we said, okay, sure, let's do that. But, quite frankly, a lot of our congressional supporters were not happy with that. And you saw that in the committee room. They were not happy that we took a pause and that we said, let's see if there's room, let's give peace a chance. So, those supporters are now going to be watching, and they are going to make sure that all sides negotiate in good faith.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're going to jump in. And that's not a position that anyone wants to be in. So I am excited about what's going to happen. I'm not making any promises here, but I think it's a very good sign. And I'm interested about where this goes.
And go ahead, if you haven't watched already, go on YouTube and watch the T&I committee hearing meeting on July 15th.
15th, yes.
And listen to Representative Garamendi from California. I have always loved him. I am now obsessed with him. Garamendi for president. He is a true, he's just a solid dude. And I love that he says what he means and he means what he says. And there's very few people like that, specifically in politics right now, to be completely honest. And I just think that's just refreshing.
Yes.
Go watch it though. He's a badass.
Yeah, he did a great job, as he always does. And his staff is great to work with. And he.
Yes. Shout out to Bradley.
Yes. Bradley, our good friend, and Mr. Garamendi's.
I know.
Yes.
Good guy.
Yeah. So that was what I saw. And I also want to make an announcement this week of something, and I know that this is another big thing, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm sure Angela is a little less excited about it because it means that she gets to stand on stage, and I don't have to do it for once. But the OSVDPA,
Worst name ever.
Yes, we agree. The Offshore Service Vessel Dynamic Positioning Authority is a DPO certification body that we run. And we designed an assessment that makes it very easy to track how not only one mariner's doing on it, but how the industry does. And so we have taken all of that data from those hundreds of assessments, And we have compiled a statistical analysis of where people and where the industry stand in dynamic positioning operation, and where they are doing well, where they're doing, where we could use some help. And we submitted an abstract to an organization called the Marine Technology Society's Dynamic Positioning Committee. They have a conference. It's just about as named as OSVDPA. So stop you. What do I always say? Don't let boat guys name things.
Yeah.
That's the primary rule.
MTSDPA.
It's the MTS DPC.
DPC, sorry.
So we submitted an abstract to them, and it has been accepted. So Angèle will be presenting a paper that she has written about these results at their October conference, and I'm really excited about this.
Me too, and I can nerd alert you now, Angela.
Yeah, well, Aaron, you said a whole mouthful. You say you don't like talking, but I don't know. You pretty much said everything, but I'm actually excited. When Aaron first introduced the opportunity to me, I was excited. I think that it is a nice opportunity for my career just to have that opportunity to present. I am nervous about it, but I'm excited that I'll do it and I will be great at it. So look forward to it, and I hope that the industry uses the knowledge to improve what we already have now.
I think, that's what we always strive for, is to always be striving to get better, right? And I think that this can, the data I've been looking at so far on this, I think there are some very good lessons learned that we can all take and all see where we can make for a safer operation, so that everyone at the end of their hitch gets to go home, because that's the goal. What that is, the ultimate goal is we want to ensure that everyone goes home at the end of their time. And so this, I think, will be a really cool tool that will be used to improve the safety of the industry, and I'm excited about it.
And I do want to add, we previously mentioned, like in one of our interviews, I believe it was the one with Captain Spade, but how important it is to not only know how to do something automatically with the DP system, but also how to do it manually. So that's just a little hint of what is expected in the presentation.
Yes, it is. We have always, one of the founding principles of the OSVDPA is that DP is a great technology. It's something that makes mariners' lives safer and easier. But if the dynamic positioning system fails, you have to be able to drive the boat. You can't be what some in the industry call DP babies, where they can only drive the boat when they're on DP. You have to be able to, like what John Fontenot talked about in his episode, you got to be able to walk that boat to the side and be able to master that manual handling. And so that's part of the OSVDPA. Even though it's a dynamic positioning system, we're also about manual handling of the boat. And yeah, I think the industry will like that sort of data. How about you, Ashley? What are you working on?
I am working on we're having our Lunch and Learn series, our first one this summer, and it's going to be next Tuesday, or I guess this coming Tuesday, I don't know what day it is, July 22nd in Homa, and it is sponsored by Spinergy, and they're going to be talking about the offshore energy market, and they've got a lot prepared. I always love what those guys and girls have to say. So it should be interesting. We have about 30 people registered, which is great. Go online, register today. And I'm also been working on, I can't say it with a straight face, so I don't know if anyone else does. One big, beautiful bill. Like, can we, I really feel like my daughter's pranking me, like, because they like to prank me and pretend that things are sayings when they're not. And I feel like that's what's going on right now. But I've had some of our attorney members and some of our tax or accountant members send us information, and it got my noodling, thinking that we should put something together for the members and do an event with all parties that want to come together and present to our members on how it's going to affect their businesses and the maritime industry as a whole. So be on the lookout for that. Or if you want to talk about it, let me know.
I think I'm really excited about the Spinergy Lunch and Learn. They have some great products. Yeah. I have used their products. I've used their data for some stuff that I've worked on, and it's really good. So I think their presentation will be very interesting for anyone who's in the boat market and wants to know what's going on and what's to look forward to. This will be a great resource for them. So I'm really excited. And then the what I will call the reconciliation bill, and that's what I'll call it.
I just don't understand one big beauty. I mean, like that's.
Sometimes names just take a life of their own. I think that a briefing on that will be very interesting. And look, it's also just always a great time to get together, to network with your fellow AMSA members, and that's what will be good about both of these events.
Yes.
So I'm excited about it, and I hope that when everyone reads Friday Fast Facts this morning, and we have a bunch of alerts that are scheduled to come out tomorrow and then next week about the One Big Beautiful Bill, the events we're doing, some of the regulatory reductions that the Coast Guard's doing. I know we have another release on that. And then we have a release on some Louisiana tax changes that were made this session by AMSA member Blake Miguez and former AMSA member Joe Ogeron in the State House that's something that another AMSA member, Leon Rittenberg, have been working on a long time and will definitely benefit vessel owners with their Louisiana state taxes. So look for all of those releases, and they'll also, as always, be summarized in Friday Fast Facts. So I hope everyone has a good week and a good weekend, and please stay safe. Bye.
Happy Friday.
That wraps up another episode of Maritime in America. We're proud to highlight the voices and stories that keep the American offshore industry strong. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and remember, the course ahead is shaped by those who step up and steer it. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Tune in every Friday for your offshore briefing, and don't miss our next full episode, dropping soon with a very special guest, Mariner's Perspective. Catch you next time.